Hello, everybody. Cousin Marc asked me to come up and talk to you for a couple minutes while the next group is getting set up. I'd like to chat a little bit about saving the world, some new opportunities we have to actually not give up hope, but actually save the ecology and have a future for our kids. You may have heard that I'm running for Congress, and you may wonder, what the hell is he doing? What is this about? Is he serious? Is he serious that he can win, and why should I care? Well, I'd just like to start by asking you a question. How many of you are distressed, depressed, or freaked out about the climate crisis, the ecological meltdown, the economic collapse, what's happening to us from the feds with marijuana, and what's happening to our government, the dismantling of our democracy? Anybody bugged by any of those things? Yeah. Well, it's time, I think, that we actually deal with them. I've been working on issues for 30 years. I've tried everything I can to save forests, to deal with the climate crisis, to help homeless people, to stop the wars, to get rid of sexism, homophobia, the whole bit, like what you've been doing. But what's happened now is that we're at the brink. The climate crisis is no longer an issue for the future. I've given up a lot to do this activism because I started seeing icebergs the size of states breaking off of West Antarctica. And I started thinking about planetary extinction events. This is really a drag. But you know, when you think about your kids, when I think about my niece and nephew, and a lot of the activists that I work with now who are in their early 20s, I suffer for what's going to happen. I can't ignore it. And so, at this point in time, the conclusion of all of my activism and my assessment of what's going on is that we have a brand new opportunity here. We actually can pull some things off because things have gotten so bad. It seems kind of ironic, but when things get so bad, when the fire is burning so bad, there's only one option, which is get the hell out of the house. And now all of us have kind of gotten burnt out on all of what the politicians have done. We look at Obama and go, you are our last hope. Why on earth should we care about electoral politics? Well, some things have changed here in Northern California. We now live in the most radical district, congressional district in the country. Maybe the most radical place in the world. We have Marin County and the Emerald Triangle and Ecotopia all in one. And as you all know, you've all been working on things in so many areas. I have 1,000 heroes here, from people working on homelessness, to people working on permaculture, to the people working on the big issues of war and peace. So, we now are faced with this situation. What is our plight? I've come up with a list of things that are my biggest concerns. And so, I'm doing activism to deal with these issues. First, the climate crisis. If we don't deal with that, everything else is gone. Al Gore said it's the #1 issue, and he's right. Okay, now, what does that mean? How do you deal with the climate crisis? Well, there's one way to do it. You get off burning fossil fuels as fast as you can. In 1990, we were told we had to reduce our emissions like 80% in 15 years, and now it's 22 years later and we did nothing. And we're seeing Dallas ripped to pieces by tornadoes. If you had someone in Dallas, you'd probably be really concerned. So we have come up with the solutions right here in Northern California. We know what we have to do. We have to go decentralized. We have to go to Ecotopia. We have to get off fossil fuels and nuclear right now. We know we have to stop these wars. Not just stop the wars, we have to pull back from the empire. We have to pull back and stop the war on drugs. We have to make cannabis, hemp, marijuana legal. We have to liberate ourselves. We have to get rid of the corporatists. You know, some of these people think they can go to Washington, D.C. and be another Dennis Kucinich who's really good, or another Lynn Woolsey, or pick your favorite progressive. But the biggest caucus in Congress is those people, and Bush got away with murder. There are 1 million people that our country, our government killed in Iraq, and the Democrats act as if it's just, oops, we didn't know any better, and sorry we went along with all this, and 1 million people are dead. That's not acceptable to me. Look at Cindy Sheehan. Her son is dead. My niece and nephew are at that age where they could go in there if we don't hold them back. I really care about this, and I know a lot of people do. So there are a lot of people who are ready to deal with these issues. Now, I've gone to many debates. I've been running for Congress now for many months, and you would be surprised how this area has changed. Only 10% of the people here want a Republican anymore. No one has challenged me about the urgency of dealing with the climate crisis, getting off fossil fuels, a war effort to convert to ecotopia now. The Republicans are ready to do that now. So what does that mean? It means that we should start to think that our activism can make a difference. It means that we need to expand what we have done so well here to make something like the Mateel Community Center. We come together, we look at these problems, we start to think about our potential to make things better, and then we start to make them better. We have a lot of experience doing that. The rest of the country doesn't. The rest of the country lives in prefab America. They think the only options are what the Republicans and Democrats do. We said, screw those people. We said, we're leaving, we're becoming outlaws, we're going to do it our own way. And we have found the ways. We know about permaculture, we know what we can do, we know all these ecological benefits, we know we don't have to do any of this other stuff that the Republicans and Democrats are doing, so we should be providing the leadership. We should be saying, hey, a democracy is a good idea, we should try it. That means we have to become the leaders. How can we get rid of these corporatists if we got no one to replace them with? So, what can we do with these fascists and these psychopaths, and with someone like Obama who is just accepting the framing of these monsters? These Democrats aren't even challenging these liars. Well, imagine Michael Moore and Amy Goodman, 20 of them in Congress. Every time the Republicans lie about something, every time the Democrats bend over, they get up there and raise holy hell. And then they go out into the streets and they activate Occupy. How about occupying Congress by surrounding it? Why don't we go there and surround Congress? And every month go there and tell those bastards, you're surrounded, motherfuckers. You do this to the Indians, we're doing it to you, you bastards. And then we start talking to each other like happens in Occupy. I've been doing canvassing, where you go door to door and talk to neighbors for 30 years. And you would be surprised how open Republicans and independents and the prefab people are to being informed about what's going on. Yeah. I talked about the Central American wars that Reagan was doing, massacring hundreds of thousands. I got almost all these Republicans to say, wow, that's horrible, I had no idea. So there's this huge potential. What my message here for you now is, don't give up, don't get jaded. It's time to experiment, it's time to be bold. And what I've done is take 7 of the major issues here and list them in something called New Green America. And I think we all agree on these things, and I can tell you, millions of people do. And this is what we should be doing. We should be dealing with the climate crisis as threat number 1. We should be rebuilding America's infrastructure around bioregions and sustainability to meet all our needs as close to home as possible. Globalization is over. It's dead. We're not going to send salads from Central California to Toronto anymore. We got to meet everything here close to home. We got to tax the rich. We got to give Medicare to everybody. We have to expand the social safety net so people aren't freaking out as we go through these changes. If we want to work together, we have to take care of everybody. We have to retreat the American empire. We're in 150 countries to defend ourselves from whom? From what group? What nation? Trillions of dollars, $10 trillion were spent to fight the Russians, to keep Cuba from invading America. $10 trillion wasted. $3 to $5 trillion on Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay, I'm saying we need to redirect those trillions back to our towns, our counties, and our states, and we have to start rebuilding a post-fossil fuel, post-nuclear energy infrastructure to meet these needs as close to home, and we have to do it everywhere. I'm talking about economic security. We can do this. This isn't ideology. This is about organizing to do things that we have done. The history of the labor movement, they've organized hundreds of thousands or millions of people. We live in a congressional district of 700,000 people. To send me to Congress will take organizing about 30,000 of them to vote for me. That is something that can be done. This is not impossible. And then we go down there, and it's like the situation I said when I was canvassing. We start talking to the American people. I'm a Green, but I'm running registered Democratic. People are going to ask me, well, what's Green politics? It's time for the Greens to stand up and the Earth Firsters to stand up, and all these people here, the hemp community, the pot community, to stand up and saying, this is what it is. This is where we can go. There is a pathway. There is a yellow brick road. Ecotopia now. We can decentralize, shut these things down, and we all know we can have a blast. We don't have to be consumers that buy all this shit and have a great fucking time. We know how to party, and we can make America party. I want people to think of the parties I throw, not the party I'm in, okay? That's the name of the game. When you celebrate, people want to join you. That's what we can do. We know how to do it, so let's do it, okay? Because Greenland's ice, half of it's sitting on water right now. If that goes, if the Amazon dries out and catches on fire, those are the levels that are too late. Yeah, we're going to lose some species, some habitat. That's too bad. It's going to happen. We're going to cry. We're going to suffer for it. You know, every single grove here matters to us. Every tree matters to us. Okay? There's going to be a lot of suffering. But don't let that shut us down completely. We owe it to our kids to try everything we can. You know, we owe it to the other peoples who haven't done this. The native peoples, the indigenous peoples around the world, the people who are innocent, who have only tried to do their best. I think we shouldn't give up. And so if you agree with that, then try to get involved in this campaign and in the broader focus of talking about these issues the way I have them here. We have to prosecute Bush. We have to prosecute Kissinger. We have to say no. I mean, Nixon, I hate Gerald Ford. Nixon walked. And when Ford did that, Reagan went, okay, I can walk too after Central America. Remember what Reagan said with the Iran Conference? He said, yeah, I'll take responsibility for it. And then he went to Santa Barbara, didn't do any jail time, did nothing, no penalty. And that allowed Bush and Clinton and Bush too and the rest of them to wage these illegal wars. The last war we declared was World War II. All the rest have been illegal. We've murdered millions, not us, but our government. This is not acceptable. We have to face the fact, and the rest of America doesn't want America to murder millions anymore. Believe me, the American people get behind us, and Michael Moore agrees. He wrote a chapter in a book called Liberal Paradise, and he was talking about the U.S. If you go through all the issues in new polls, you find actually 55 to 60% of America or more is with us on every issue, with the exception of one or two, okay? So don't give up. Start working with your neighbors. Start talking. And when you get on the radio, when you write a letter to the editor, tell it like you see it, okay? Let's pull together and do this. We can do it. We really can do it. And it starts here. It starts here in Ecotopia, okay? Thank you very much. One other thing. I have 3 really unbelievable young people who are making my campaign happen. My campaign manager, Yarrow, my volunteer coordinator, Duke Maynard, and my great top assistant, Caffrey. And if you want to help me and help them, I'd like to start sending some money their way. So if you want to make a contribution to this campaign to help me send some money their way for the incredible work they're doing, there's a can over there, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And here's my bumper sticker.